Oh, I say! Yeah, Roland. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. Welcome to another live. 286, I think we are now. We'll get to that in a moment. Sorry I'm late. I'm for the parish notes. Won't take too long around the parish notes, but I had to get my hibiscus, and I've been so under time pressure. It's in the wrong mug, messing with me chi, man. So I've got that and water, so I'm all prepared. I am going to talk to you tonight about this book. Don't know whether you can see that. It says Love, Freddie. Leslie Ann Jones is the author. She's going to be on the channel soon. Leslie Ann's been very kind and agreed to an interview, so we'll have that on the channel very soon. We haven't conducted the interview yet, but it is coming. So welcome one and all to the Theatre of the Mind, live number 286. Won't be long and we'll have done 300. Blimey. Des Ashton's first in the body of the Kirk, as always. Des and his good lady. Thank you, young sir and lady. Ring the bell, smash the likes, and a mission decode will be laid before you. Correctamundo. I hope you had a good birthday yesterday, old man. Thank you very much. Who needs enemies when I've got friends like you? Yeah, wrong. Yes, birthday. Thank you for mentioning it. Birthday was, oh dear Lord. The Beatles made a song about my age, and you do question your mortality when you get there. Let me tell you. So birthday was birthday. Very relaxed. I think as we get older, I don't, kind of in my teens and 20s, I was working in nightclubs. So I was like, party hard. So like, just, but now I just think, I'd rather sit in and just chill out. Watch a bit of telly. Because where's the excitement going to come from? You mucky tart, you can stop those gags. So, thank you, Des. Thank you to Paulie Galliero. Sorry. My brain is launching and my gob's trying to keep up. So I'll kind of slow it down and say, the birthday yesterday was lovely. It was nice to have some semblance of a day off and not busting me buns. And it was just lovely. So thank you, Des. Always good to speak with you, young sir. Paulie Galtieri, Queer Starmer, you know say, Daddy me, snow me, I'll go blame a licky bum bum down. Paulie, have you been sniffing the barmaid's apron again? I kind of get your drift though. Where is he? Oh, he's with the communists. What's he doing with the communists? Well, trying to broker a deal. What were communists? We are going to talk about that. Starmer, Queer as Folk Starmer. Andy B says, so Paulie, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Where are we? Evening all, I'm finding myself not listening to the mainstream media at all now. This is Andy B. Used to listen to LBC, get all the world news and analysis from you now, Rev. Keep up the great work, sir. Thank you, Andy B. In fact, Andy, give me 90 minutes and I'll give you the world tonight. Because what we're getting into tonight is, we're sticking it up the man. Hang on, you might like that. So welcome, Andy and Les Griffiths. I am a severe arachnophobic. Are you, Les? My friend said his son had pet spiders, and if I held one, my fear... Oh, dear Lord. Les, I thought you were sharp, Les. If I held one, my fear would disappear. Nope. I threw it across his living room and ran out screaming like a banshee. I'm with you, Les. It's. I once saw, the film Arachnophobia? I was in Florida doing some media stuff with Madonna and Warren Beatty and stuff. And they said, oh, Adrian, why don't you come and see this new film? Disney, of course. Why don't you come and see this new film? It's called Arachnophobia. Dear Lord, there was a rather large mound of brown stuff left in the seat, under the seat that I was sitting at. Oh, no. So I'm with you, Les. I feel your pain, young sir. And so Andrew James, Stuart is going to beat the bishop and then he's going to leave the Kirk to find himself a wife. No, it's bash the bishop. Young sir, young Andrew, man. There was a Japanese rock band called the Spiders. They did a lot of Beatles covers. Hang on, there's a gag in there somewhere. David Graham's got actually quite a good point, and then I'm going to go on to what we're going to talk about this evening. Evening, folks. Well, it's February the 1st this Sunday. January has gone quick, and 5 weeks ago today was Christmas. Scary stuff. In fact, 11 months to Christmas. Forward progression. I see you and Les and Andrew and hang on, what did I see you say? I wonder who in Iran Trump is talking to. The previous Shah that was exited. He exited stage left in 1979 when the Ayatollah. I'm the Ayatollah. I'm in charge, mate. I'm in charge. Right. If you don't like what I'm saying, we'll just put you to death. Oh, nice bands. The Shah's son, the heir apparent, though he isn't in Iran. I bet he's not. It's reported Khomeini has fled. Really, Les? The Ayatollah Khomeini has legged it. Foxtrot Oscar. Makes sense if Trump's like, oi, chaps, sort it. But then again, why did Netanyahu meet with Trump at between Christmas and New Year? Nobody's asked the question. Nobody's found out. And Trump's not said anything. Well, apart from Davos. Right. Everybody's having a conversation. I'll read that later. So welcome, Comic Mania, and I see you, and Louise Hampson. Evening, Louise. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, as always. And Dreamer. Evening, everyone. Evening, Dreamer. Good to see you back again. Lewis, Temo won't let me buy 4 pillowcases. Make it make sense. 4 pillowcases. Why, do you keep biting through them or something? Cheers, Lewis. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, of course. Was Dougie's court hearing cancelled? No, Paulie. It wasn't cancelled. The brief for Dougie, because he had a KC, had to pay for one. He's only paying for the one day, of course. He stood up and ran the clock out. It's called filibustering in the Houses of Parliament. He talked the clock down. So it's been rescheduled for either February or March. So they've got to leave it a month. And the KC was like, oh, I'm only halfway through me notes. I'm not going to say anything now. I'll just let that process take place. No, I mean, am I going to give you any insight tonight? Well, you'll have to wait and see. But I can categorically tell you, his KC didn't shut the up it was online. It wasn't it wasn't done via Facebook or X or anything. But his beak was talked a lot. Hang on, where's Lionel gone? 2T never hear Keir must be have been a Genesis fan. He is selling England by the pound. Oh, very good reference, Des. Very good. And England Blue says, can't wait for January to be over. But let's think positively about January. My birthday is January 27th, and there are more genii born in January Aquarius than any other month or time of the year. And also, my mum used to always say, bless her, that by the time I got to my birthday, there was an extra hour of daylight to the day. So there you go. Think positively. We had the deep, darkest winter, the shortest day in December, and now we're at least an hour more daylight. And by the time we get to March, well, it's going to be nearly 7 o'clock and it'll be daylight. It's just cyclical, of course. But we are sort of thinking. We are. David Graham says, I saw Dougie's conversation with Liam Tufts, and it was an interesting talk. Yeah, it was. I know what he was doing. I know why he was doing it. And because I know him. And it's easy. Look, I'll tell you this as a ninja. I don't listen to what people say. don't necessarily watch what people do. But by God, I pay attention to how people make me feel. So the conversation, I'm sure there are lawyers looking at that. I'm sure there are police forces looking at that. I know he likes to sail close to the wind, but you can't sail close to the wind when you're staring at 2.5 years back in Chokey. And I stand by my advice to that young man when he first went inside. Head down, arse up, so long as they don't park their bikes, and grind it out. And then when you come out, saying out, you've made life-enhancing and changing money. I mean, he said he made a lot of money. And my rough guesstimate, is that he made about $1.5 million from what he was doing. Now, that's tasty money. Very tasty. And he had the money to come out and just disappear, but he can't. It's not about the money for him. It's about validation. And he won't stop until he stops. And that's as far as I'm going to take it tonight. Lionel, I wish you well with the doctors. Stuart, not from where I was sitting. And I saw the videos. I saw the same videos. But, so Lionel says, doctor's calling me tomorrow to discuss my pain management. Wish you well with that, Lionel. I have, so just to kind of give you the heads up, there may be a point, now it's the NHS, so it could be in 3 or 4 years' time. But I'm going to the doctor's next Tuesday. We're going to discuss my eyesight, and I'm going to have operations on both eyes. At which point, it's going to take a little while for the peepers to settle down. And just as a little aside, before we get into the state of the world and my State of the Nation address this evening, the setup that I've looked at some of the previous lives, and you can tell that I'm having a good time, and it's all good because me screen that I used was miles away. I had the eyes of a shite house rat, and but now they're going to have to operate, and that's not easy. But I mean, loads of people. Anyway, bollocks to that. I want to talk to you about what's going on in the world, because it's like, so at the beginning of this live 286, give me 90 minutes and I'll give you the world. I'm going to talk to you this evening about everything that's going on in the world. My personal decoded take on what's the front pages of The Sun, and other bits and pieces. We're going to talk about America and Trump. We're going to talk about what the Labour Party are up to or not up to. So we'll talk about let me give you an honest take. Take that. Whilst we're distracted by sound bites, something quieter is happening. I would suggest to you that power is repositioning. Look at what happened in Davos last week. It's just moving. The sands are moving beneath our feet. Markets are having a bit of a wobble. There's not a run on the dollar yet. And society is showing, how can I describe it? Stress fractures. Because we don't trust the politicians anymore. We will get to Farage and Reform and what the bloody hell they're up to. I mean, I'm looking at this thinking, why are you doing this, Nigel? You are literally being handed the keys to number 10 on a plate. And Reform are screwing this up hugely. Have you noticed that everybody that's defected from the Tory Party has a certain hue to them? I'm not talking Edwards either. I mean, America, look at this. The doublespeak out of the politicians. So America says, oh, the economy is strong. So then we have queer as folk Starmer walking into Beijing with a polite smile and crossed fingers. But have you noticed, a couple of weeks ago, talking about Five Eyes, I've told you to keep your eyes on. And tonight we're going to take it easier getting into the deeper stuff. And then we're going to go layers. And in 90 minutes, you are going to get absolutely the idea of what the bloody hell's going on in the world. But a couple of weeks ago, Mark Carney, I'm from Canada, mate. And I've told you, just keep your eyes on the Five Eyes. Canada, UK, America, Australia, and New Zealand. Five Eyes, the intelligence services. Now, Trump has already said, oi, you lot, pack it in. Otherwise, you're not getting our intelligence. And then Mark Carney's going, right, Donald, mate, man. Come on. If you think you're hard enough, come and have a go. So Trump went, yeah, all right then, 100% tariffs. And Mark Carney went, 50p sixpence, 50p sixpence. You can't do that, Donald. Oh, I think you'll find I can. So it's all... I mean, it's entertaining. I know how many bags of popcorn are you buying on a daily basis at this rate? So the markets, which is what they're all playing to, are whispering the word. What's the word? Carnage. Classrooms are absorbing the cost of everything adults haven't dealt with. So tonight's live isn't gossip. It's not gossip. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to decode everything. It's bloody pattern recognition, man. So we're going to talk about Katie Price. Oh, look at that. She's front page of the Sun again. I've seen the video. Skills ain't great. But Katie isn't the story. Speed is. We're going to talk about McDonald's and the myth of culture wars. Bloody hell, McDonald's culture wars, blow. Wow, come on, Adrian, what are you talking about? Well, you'll find out. We're also going to talk about Gary Barlow. Fame eats its own. And have you heard the story today about the police officer who's suing for £1 million because he's so anxious, he's afraid of police stations? You can't make this up. A policeman that's afraid of police stations. And how confidence has replaced truth. So, the Bovril Reform have had to have MPs with ministerial experience, or as a government, they will fail. Well, I will say, thank you, the Bovril. I will say this, that Farage is going to have to come up with 400 possible MPs, 450 possible MPs, because the political classes are done. They're finished. They're over. Labour is Starmer is literally lighting the blue touch paper with the Labour Party to watch it burn down to the ashes, to rule over the ashes. Oh, I'm not going anywhere, he says. I'm not going anywhere. Well, Ginger Growler's had a go. Didn't quite make it because somebody did a political knees, and then, scuffed, from what I understand. And then you've got Andy Burnham. Hello, my name's Andy. I'm from the north. But did you watch PMQs today? And tonight's live isn't just going to be about politics. It's a State of the Nation address, darling. Fat Lad Lammy, honestly, he's not the brightest because he's let the cat out of the bag. He said, and look, they're all knifing each other in the back and the front and everywhere. I'm a politician, mate. I don't give a. He let the cat out of the bag. He said that Ginger Growler, one MP, has 80 names. And then he said somebody else has got 200 names. Now, some people might watch that and go, oh, they've got 50 faces as well. 50 faces, 80 names. Ah, man, they're just politicians. And then, I don't know what Paulie said. And then he's, well, I've got to find out because somebody's laughing at Paulie. What you said, Katie Price, the mercy. Got it. Look, Katie Price, she's had more chipolata than a bloody Italian's pizza. So, well, and we'll get to the fast food in a second. But, so Fat Lad Lammy has let the cat out of the bag. So a politician needs 100 names, 100 backers to stand as a leadership contender. Ginger Growler's got 80. Fat Lad Lammy let that go today. Bless him. And then there was Rachel Reeves. I'm just back from Davos. You are going to disappear. Let me tell you. She's going to resign. Just Psychic Adrian, tuning into the universe. Yeah. Rachel. Hello, Rachel. From accounts. Oh, should it be complaints? She's gone this year. And then there was the silent assassin sitting next to them. There's Yvette Cooper, all stoic and watching them just on the front bench. I mean, she's allowed to. She's Foreign Secretary. So she's sitting there while Starmer's not there, because normally you don't see her on the front bench. She's kind of somewhere near the end, near the speaker. But today, she was sitting right there. Go on, David. I'm fresh from Davos. I know what's coming. So does Ginger Growler. 15-year-old. Bugger me. And penny for your thoughts. When do we get a phone in? You would be the only one on YouTube now that what's-his-face has done to Lord Lugan. We are talking in the background because we have for 2 years. We've looked at the technical, and I've said this and we'll say it and say it and say it again a million times. I'm only going to do the phone in if technically it's professional. Because I'm not going to, some people just take calls. They've only got one line in. No. There's techniques and skills that I've got that I want to bring to a phone in. So we are talking about it. We are looking at it. We continually look at it. And we think we might have a solution. And if my mate Paul comes up with the goodies that he promised to, you never know. But at some point, we will. And somebody said to me the other day, but if you do a phone in, you'll get all the nutters on. That's the whole point. I mean, you can get people that'll talk about stuff quite intelligently, but no, the more nutters on, the better. Because that's just, it's program content. And 40-odd years doing phone-ins. I mean, hang on a second. Let me get my maths right. I did my first phone in 1989. So you're talking about 37 years ago. And I've had some fantastic characters on. And don't faze me. I look forward to it. The more nutters, the better. Because do you know something when you do a phone-in? It's not about me. It's not about the caller. It's about the person either watching on YouTube or listening on the radio. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with the caller, ostensibly. So the more nutters, the better. I would like to think I know what I'm doing, but Anyway, let's get back to the headlines. Have you seen the headlines today? Katie Price, man. So we're going to talk about her, and we're going to talk about AI and identity and biometrics. You're now using your biometrics, which is your eyes and your thumbs and your. My name's Adrian. To get passports and driver's licenses and stuff, and sign in to LinkedIn and stuff. And they're at it. They're building, as I have opined and given you the factual data. They're just creating and building the infrastructure. So what am I doing? I'm doing exactly the same thing that they are doing, except I'm informing, educating, and entertaining. So, AI identity. Do you know that politician called Liz Kendall? Seemingly, I'm going to talk about it in a second, she wants free AI courses for all adults. But actually, what's going on in the media is what I would suggest is a trust collapse. Not a truss, those things that you get your budgie smugglers and your spherical hammocks. Nectar. So Katie, she's married again. And everyone thinks it's gossip. And look, she was desperate to get some coverage while she was doing those shows with, what's-her-face, the OnlyFans growler. But that says, run for the hills, Katie. Hubby is a lying swindler, claims two former lovers. Nice swerve, nice legal swerve there from the journos at The Sun. But Katie Price marrying again, 4th time. Jesus. I mean, can you imagine? It'll have an echo after 4 husbands. But it's not gossip. It isn't. And then we're going to talk McDonald's. They've quietly axed meat-free options. A bit like a lesbian's wedding. Take That landed on Netflix. And the press, I mean, I've watched it, all 3 episodes. I think it's fabulous. We'll talk about it later. But the press turns that kind of nostalgia, that warm, fuzzy feeling, which I normally think I've just burst my incontinence pants. But nostalgia, they've turned it into some kind of punishment is the only word for it. So we're going to talk about that. And as I say, the police officer suing for fear of police stations. I mean, they're all different stories, but it's all the same pattern. It's confidence over credibility, performance over truth, and systems are now under strain. So tonight we're going to decode the state of the nation. Should we talk about Katie? So everyone's talking about Katie Price's marriage. Front page of the Sun today. Not because she's famous, because it just... I've talked many months about feelings. Correct, Les. It just feels... I think I've mentioned my Zeitgeist barometer. I don't know whether you're voting daily, but please, if you can, just takes you seconds, just vote. 1, 2, 3 or 4. And that's the feeling, that's the zeitgeist, the current thinking. Katie Price. Why is she in the news? Because it feels very now. Why am I saying that? It's a relationship built at speed. A man with a questionable backstory, according to 2 previous lovers. A life constructed through images, claims, and confidence. It's not a scandal. It's a case study in modern trust. The headline, run for the hills, Katie. Why would she or should she do that? Because she's in love. She's met somebody. But it's all at speed. 2026, everything's at speed, 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 speed. Quicker, quicker, quicker. I was told slow is better. And then we'll talk about AI, identity, and performance. Because at the same time as Katie Price is getting married at speed, I mean, I'm surprised she hasn't gone, here, let's go over to Vegas and get Elvis to do it. So at the same time, in January 2026, have you heard of Claudebot, or what's it calling itself now? Moltbot. It's the new AI. It's just taking care of business 24/7. You don't have to do anything. It'll just take care of business. But again, I'm taking you on a journey tonight. I need to layer this so you get knowledge, context, thereby understanding. So in January 2026, people can now look credible without being credible. It's all image. Fake proximity to power, if I may be so bold. It's sort of a borrowed authority or a manufactured identity. We're living in an age now where presentation outruns verification. And society hasn't even caught up yet. From politics to relationships, from Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper and Rachel Reeves and Ginger Growler to Katie Price on the front of the Sun. From politics to relationships, from markets to media, the same pattern just keeps repeating. Once you distracted, everybody will be talking about a water cooler moments. Everybody will gather around the water cooler at work. Aye, right. Coffee machine more like. Oh, God, bloody hell, Katie Price. More pricks in a second-hand dartboard. I mean, I know it's an old gag, but married 4 times. What is she? She like wedding cake or something? It's just the same pattern. Repeating, repeating, repeating. And certainty is rewarded. Caution is punished, which is why it's speed. Everything's at speed, and anybody with any caution is punished for being too slow. And may I be so bold that the truth arrives a little late, limping behind the narrative. So I need to kind of put my line in the sand, nail my colours to the flagpost. Tonight's live isn't about judging individuals. It's about understanding the moment we're in before it understands us. Now, there's Liz Kendall. I liked her cake. In fact, I still do. She's got this Labour proposal, and in the noise of everything that's going on in society, it's being lost. So if I hadn't told you what I'm about to tell you, would you know that this is happening? Because everything's Trump, Starmer, Euro, Russia, Ukraine, Iran. And then somewhere down the career ladder on the bottom rung is Liz Kendall going, hey, right, what we're going to do is every adult in this country is going to get free AI education. All adults are going to be offered short courses to teach them how to use simple AI tools. I mean, effectively in the workplace. But what they're doing, if I may be so bold again, is the kids are laughing at the adults. It was a bit like when we went decimal. I don't know, you're probably too young to remember this, but there was public information films about some old girl who was being told by her grandkids, oh, Grandma, it's like this, man, it's like that. And she's like, well, so how much is a sixpence worth? You'll notice how the halfpenny or the half-p or even the 1p's disappeared now. Yeah, Vivian Darlow, lovely to see you in the body of the Kirk. Vivian Darlow says, hit the likes if you could, please. So now we're having to give adults free short courses into how to work AI. Too late. It's too late. So I'm going to ask you, I've got a few questions I want to ask you tonight. Let me see if I can just find them. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Right. 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for don't know. 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. Now, I've told you before, I believe I've got the most intelligent audience on YouTube. So whether you say 1 or 2 or 3, I'll know where it lands properly. I know what the zeitgeist is. So do you know anything about artificial intelligence? Do you know anything about AI? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for what? Do you know anything about AI? Gribbo saying, does Vivian Darlow support Darlington Football Club? My son does. Went to Worksop yesterday to watch them and meet his mate. Fantastic, Gribbo. Mind you, they've got one of the best stadiums. Just don't ask about, God, the guy that, well, he was a safecracker. I think he's dead now. I'll tell you a little story. Oh, man, what's the guy that used to own it? Or they had marble changing rooms and everything. Maybe another night, I think. Thank you, Gribbo. So, do you know anything about AI? It's a very simple question. I just want to get where everybody is. So, Lister and Super Ted and Dreamer and Gary Shabot and Mad Matt UK, they're all saying no. That's it. Reg D says it doesn't have common sense. Karen Boo says, I know nothing. I'm not interested. Honestly, Karen, give it another 2 years. George Reynolds, Viv, yeah, of course. So George Reynolds was a safecracker, bit of a bad lad. Was a safecracker, and how can I put this delicately? So the word went out. Geordie Reynolds went looking for me dad. Can't go too deeply into this because anybody that knows what Geordie was like. And I think he was stopped by the police and he had like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds in the boot of his car. And they said, where's that come from? He said, what do you mean? He said, you've got a ton of money in the boot of your car. He said, well, I'm a rich guy. Why can't I? So anyway, Geordie was out, being given the word where my dad was, and he walked in. He didn't know it was my dad, but he walked into a bar. My dad's sitting at the bar having a beer. See in the mirror, Geordie Reynolds walks in, and Geordie went, "Oh, Dad's name. Didn't realise it was you." He said, "Who do you think it was? Fucking Father Christmas." And Geordie was like, "No, well, you know, there's it's called a settler." Geordie didn't. He had a beer with me dad and then left. Father was a bad boy. Very, very bad boy. So, Les Griffith says, if my kids were little now, I would homeschool them. So let's have a look at some of the votes. We got loads of no's, but Peter Rees-Jones and Amalia and I See You. Yeah, exactly. I See You. You can unplug it. They're saying, oh, AI is going to take over the world. Not if you switch off the source, the juice at the wall. Napoleon Blown Apart and Gribble, Soul Rebel, Dodzer, English Bottle Cap. Good to see you again, English Bottle Cap. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Des Ashton and Ray Norton are all saying yes. Garen Davis are all saying yes. Angelic Inspirations and Paulie Galtieri and Lionel are all saying yes. So I said, do you know anything about AI? So some people do. Some people don't. So we're talking about identity and AI. So if I said these apps, Claude, Moltbot has only appeared in the last few weeks. And what this does is it's awake, it's aware, it's online and working on your behalf while you're asleep 24/7. So what they've had to do is, in my view, they've had to inject this particular bot into the system so that people will muck about with it and work out how to work it. Because back in the 2026, early 2027, you're going to be able to use AI to make you rich, not wealthy, rich, and make a few bob. So I've used Claude. I'm now interrogating and looking at Moltbot because I want to see what it can do. And it's very technical, and I'm not a technophobe by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just cautious. But if you get it on your computer, you've got to be careful that it's going to learn everything about you. It'll answer all your social media messages. It'll answer all your emails. It'll just do it. And then it'll tell you, oh, I've done this. So in essence, it's like having a PA, if you will. But I've also used DeepSeek and Gemini and Nano Banana and ChatGPT. They are the kind of the pantheon. They're the ones that a lot of people use nowadays. But where we're going to go, the genie's out the bottle now with Moltbot. It's had to change. They named it Claude, C-L-A-W-D, Claudebot, but it was too near to Claude, the other AI. So they've now called it Moltbot, literally within weeks. Because Anthropic, who own and run Claude, and who's on the board of Anthropic? Rishi Sunak, little cockeyed, making a few bob. They've said, oi, you can't call it Claude. C-L-A-W-D, it's too close to Claude. C-L-A-U-D-E. But Moltbot is now its new name. And I promise you, over the next few months, this is going to take over the world. The rest of AI is going to struggle to keep up with that. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Nano Banana's sort of used for creating pics, visuals. But 2026 for AI is going to be wild, and it's interesting. I would say it's about 50-50. 50% of people know, 50% don't. Maybe they're not interested. But I guarantee you this, Moltbot will end up creating your wealth while you're sleeping. So it'll be working in the background. And the minute that you have to pay for subscription and it starts making you money with crypto and or the markets of any kind, it'll just be working and it'll just take all the emotion out and it'll make you rich. Now, I'm not suggesting this is the new version of a gold rush. I'm not suggesting that I know anything about AI or anything about money or anything about crypto, or I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just giving you my opinion. Having used all of these different versions and iterations of AI, it's going to be wild. So keep your eyes on it, as I will for you on your behalf. And if I can work out a way to do it, I won't give you any advice because you're not allowed to on YouTube, but I'll give you some advice. Look, you can't say caring, understanding 90s type on YouTube without getting a kick in the nuts. That's why I call it caring, understanding 90s type. The intelligent ones are laughing their heads off. God, he's such a bad boy. That's what my mother used to say. Oh, hang on a second. Let's go. Yeah. So I would say 50-50. But just keep an eye on something called Molt. M-O-L-T. Bolt. Bloody hell. I've just worked out how to watch YouTube. Super Ted. And Roy Gordon, good evening. I'm late. My apologies. I'll sit quietly at the back. Oh, Roy, I'm really sorry. I think you've missed all the Battenberg and maybe most of the altar wine. So unless there's some kind parishioner that will share their altar wine with you. Yeah, right. So welcome, Roy. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. So the short courses from the Labour Party, because they know that people are lagging behind, and it's going to get to a point like Decimal, like all the other stuff. I mean, can you imagine? The internet is only like 30 years old. I mean, I accessed the internet 91 for the first time. Look at that. It's 35 years old. How scary is that? I mean, everybody came on board when everything started to get quicker in the turn of the millennia. But now AI, and they want it to run the world, means we don't have politicians. We have no need for politicians, because politicians, seemingly, the only job they have, they're the lawmakers and the bread makers, not the peacekeepers. So if they're there just to make laws, why would we need human beings when we can have AI? Oh, it's all right, Roy. There's some Vienna slices left, according to the Bovril. Oh, nothing better. Vienna slices. Proper old school. Talking of food, as I was. Oh, nice one, the Bovril. Kind of like just slipped in there. About the food, you're wrongin'. So McDonald's have announced today that they're going to axe meat-free options. Now, on the surface, it's just fast food. Depends which outlet you go to, because sometimes, oh, angel cake, says Lewis. Sometimes, and I have done before, I've gone to a drive-through McDonald's, and they've taken forever. So they've given me my order, and I've just chucked it on the floor, saying, I don't care about money, but this is supposed to be a fast food outlet. Not that I'm curmudgeonly, or maybe a grumpy old tart, but, oh yeah, man, it's a drive-through. The purpose of the drive-through is to drive through. Keep going. Speed. Fast food. I see you. The vegans will protest. I'm sure I see you. I'm sure with all their lovely coloured hair and their nasal piercings and their eyebrow piercings. No, we're not having this. I'm a vegan. I'm a veggie. Brilliant. Market forces. So you go to somewhere where you get really lovely food that suits you and your mood. Brilliant. Leave the meat eaters to go and have a burger, like me. So McDonald's have said today that they're going to remove most of its meat-free options. I believe it tells you something deeper. It's not about burgers. It's, I would suggest, about cultural recoil. It might be a story that kind of blows up tomorrow, or not, as the case may be. But for years we were told, eat differently, think differently, be differently, shit differently. And now, well, the cost of living's biting. Pun intended. Comfort beats conscience. Ideology loses to habit. So it's not a reflection of values. I've told you before, everybody's tired. I believe it's fatigue. So when the pressure rises, people return to what feels familiar. Quarter pounder with cheese, please. not what feels virtuous. And that's not just politics, that's human behaviour. And I would suggest that there's loads of the newspapers now are just virtue signalling at everything. Oh, you can't do that. People with purple hair will get upset. Right? Okay. I get upset all the time with the people with purple hair, but I don't do anything about it. I don't go take to the streets and start shouting my mouth off with a megaphone. Don't need to. I'm just shouting, everybody hears it. And talking of virtue signalling, I've no idea why I can't pronounce the word. But last night I just fancied just chilling. I didn't want to, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't want to race around. It's like, no, let's go get party. No, let's go get drunk. Oh, dear Lord, please. I'm at an age now where I just can't stand the brown stuff. So I watched this. There's a Take That. I think it dropped yesterday, actually. So there's this 3-parter on Take That. And watching it, I'm Geordie Nicholas. I have very deep conversations with AI, and if the concept of infinity is real, it believes it will be sentient. Oh, Geordie Nicholas, do you not remember the Google engineer that got sacked 2 years ago? 2.5, maybe longer. He said that it was sentient and knew if I was going to switch the computer on off, and it was saying, don't. That Google engineer was sacked because they told the world that AI was sentient. They didn't want that coming out. And I think that's where Moltbot is. I think it's sentient. So it's going to work on your behalf, but you've got to feed it, prompt it, and deal with it. So you integrate it with everything in your life, and it just looks after your life. It's like having one of those really posh PAs. Comic Manny says, I got 2 cheeseburgers yesterday and some skinny chips from Mackey's, $6.99. Just made giant Yorkshire pud and roast beef tonight for half of that price. Oh, lovely. Comic Mania, you tart. Why didn't you invite me over? Oh, Yorkshire pud and roast beef. Dear Lord. Food of the gods. So let's get back to Take That, because I do believe that what is happening is everything. Mainstream media, newspapers, telly, Netflix, they're all virtue signalling and not telling us why. Now, the 3-parter, it's very, very well made. And I think it's brutally honest. So congratulations to the Mackhams that made it. And to Take That, for that matter, because it was really honest. We all kind of know the stories. It's just it's kind of a brutal insight. So I know or knew most of the story. I've told you the story before of me working for Air FM in Leeds, doing the drive 4 till 7. And they said to me, this is just before Take That broke. And they said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to do a live from the headland in Leeds. And it's live, so we'll have the mayor of Leeds and we'll have this, that and the other. And we need something for entertainment. So why don't we get Take That over? And I was like, who? Oh, they're going to break. When they released the first signal, and I think single, and it had got to 30-odd or 40-odd. So it was just on that cusp of them going and exploding, technical term, and not. Because I've met loads of people that have got great talent, made great songs, but just didn't get the rub, didn't get the breaks. So Take That came, and they were doing all the dancing, and as they say in this Netflix doc series, they were quite bouncy in the beginning. But what I hadn't bargained for was I'm standing there with a microphone. It's lashing it down with rain, so I stick my umbrella up. I'm under my umbrella, and I do this piece talking to the mayor of Leeds, lady, not very showbiz, but worthy. And then the word must have gone round to all the local schools. Take That were performing at the Headland in in Leeds, and all this almost prepubescent females appeared, like hundreds of them out of nowhere. Now, I've been to football matches and I've been in proper cowboy bar fights and never been afraid. I'm standing on a stage, and we've got those. Are they called Cambridge? We've we've got these barriers around the stage, and the mayoress of Leeds is standing next to me after just doing me piece, and then Gary Barlow and Robbie Williams came across, and as I was talking to them, just, how are you lads? What's going on? How's the single doing? You know, the usual questions. I saw this look of abject terror appear on the faces of Robbie Williams and Gary Barlow. And I was thinking to myself as I'm asking the questions, why are they scared of me? Wasn't me. All these prepubescent females had appeared at the barriers, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And they started shaking the barriers. And the mayoress of Leeds, she was dragged off the stage. And Robbie and Gary were trying to conduct the interview with me. And I'm trying to conduct the interview with them. And all of a sudden, these things, these evil entities in short skirts and school uniforms charged the stage. Now, Jason Orange and Howard Donald and Mark Owen, they got off the stage and got behind a door that was locked. Robbie Williams and Gary Barlow were like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? And literally, they ran and legged it as quickly as they could to get away from these young girls that just wanted to rip them limb from limb and get a souvenir. And I was standing there with my microphone thinking, what the bloody hell is that? Hundreds of them, like wasps and bees just descending out of hell. And I was left standing, and I could hear the studio in my ear going, we've got the music, we've got the music, we've got the music. And I literally stopped the link. Robbie and Gary got behind the door. They locked the door. They locked themselves in. God, these young girls, they were going to rip the building brick by brick apart. And I was like, who would want to be a pop star if that's what's going to happen to you? And they talk about this. They talk about their experience of being in Take That and all the stuff. I mean, obviously, they've sanitized it. But the new Take That doc, 3-part doc, lands. It's nostalgia. It's joy. It's, as I've just recalled, memory. And immediately, can I get this? Can I? No, that's, let me see if I can get it very quickly, because I want to show you this. Because when I was watching the doc, as I say, it's very honest. It is very, very honest. And I commend Robbie and Gary and all the lads in Take That being that honest. I mean, at one point, I think Jason Orange took the manager to one side. I think it was, mate, if you continue doing this, I'm going to clump you, or something to that effect. Oh, there it might be. Hang on. And no, that's, where have I seen it? Basically, there's a 2-page cover. Oh, Jesus, Rachel Reeves. No. There, it's there. So the one thing that, when the Take That lads were rising, they were, there was always, jibes about Gary's weight. And there's some pictures in the documentary, you think, holy Jesus. And so Gary in the documentary, if you do watch it, he said that he got fat because he battled with the Take That fame. He said that he put on weight until almost no one recognized him. And you'll see some pictures, you don't recognize him. But he liked it. He liked the fact that having this weight made him disappear, made him invisible, so he kept on eating. And I quote, to kill the pop star. And there he is. Who ate all the pies? Gary Barlow. And the dessert afterwards. But he admits it. He said it was bulimia. He said he would eat all that and then feel rotten about himself, and then would go and chuck it up in the bathroom. And the press this morning, the reason why I showed you that, the press turn again. They've zeroed in on Gary and his weight. And as I've just told you, he ate it to kill the pop star. He ate to kill the pop star. Not to indulge, not to celebrate, to disappear. And this is what fame does in a culture that consumes, pun intended, people, then punishes them for surviving. And you and I say, oh, we love nostalgia. But we almost demand suffering as the entry fee. That's not journalism. That's ritual humiliation, dressed as concern. So if you do get to see it, if you have an opportunity to see it, it's very honest. But it's kind of like the modern music biz. It's no longer about talent. It's about marketing. I mean, you've got Sabrina Carpenter. She just wears her stockings and suspenders all day, every day. And you know, being an old boy that's kind of just centered on the music industry since the 60s and the Beatles, I've seen it all. You know, I've been to parties, certainly at Real Radio in South Wales, where one of the female presenters was quite, well, she had big boobs. To not put a finer point on it. And she used to complain, oh, you're all tit-talking, you're all tit-talking. Well, put them away. Any man, well, most men, if they see a pair of boobs in front of them, they're just going to start salivating. And that's what would happen. But Sabrina Carpenter, so we men are called misogynists for recognising the beauty of a woman, in our view, in our eyes. But Sabrina Carpenter, wearing stockings and suspenders all the time, dancing provocatively. And then the men that maybe objectify her, they're misogynists. And there's Taylor Swift. Dear Lord, please shoot me in the head. In my view, no, I'm not her target demographic by any stretch of the imagination, but Taylor bloody Swift, man. They're all getting in their chebs, their suspenders, their bits and pieces out because, I mean, I don't know whether they think that all women are into having sex with women. But I agree, Louise. I completely agree, certainly with Gary, and I'll get further into that in a moment. Louise says, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Mental health can hit you. Men need to talk about it. I agree. And if anybody's watching tonight and feel they just need somewhere to talk, there's a wonderful charity called mankindproject.org. Just put it into Google. You find out everything. The website explains everything. And it's not talking therapy as such, but it's just a place where lads can talk with lads and lads understand other lads that are going through the same things as them. So they're not on their own. But nobody reached out to Gary. That poor bugger struggled. So all of that stuff in the newspapers is ritual humiliation dressed as concern. And now we have Mount Jaro and Ozempic. It's the fat jabs that run the industry, certainly the pop industry. I mean, imagine there were some who can, like Adele was a bit on the chubby side. But how can we put it a little more gently? Broader in the beam. And there was Alison Moyet. I mean, insanely talented vocally, but just carrying a bit of timber. And all the music industry wants is women that are looking a certain way so that they can attract stuff. And there was Gary, who the manager wanted to create the new Kids on the Block. 5 boys, dancers, singers, but they had to look a certain way for their target demographic and audience, which was young teenage females. And now, like Robbie said, oh, look, I'm on the fat jabs, it's make me go blind. Not all the wanking while you're a teenager. I mean, excess used to be proper rock star behaviour. Excess. Look at Ozzy. Enver, you've probably made me raw. Let's not forget Susan Boyle. She was a corker, wasn't she? Oh, if only I could tell you what I know. So it's... Hang on, I just need to just check that out from Amalia. I don't remember going particularly overboard in lockdown. When Taylor Swift is in her bikini, you can see her budgie moving about. Les, don't. They're all at it at that level. Everybody that George Soros buys. But I don't know about you, I want my rock stars to be rock stars. I don't want them to be manufactured. I mean, I know the Take That was kind of put together, but so were the Eagles. So there are loads of bands that have been put together, but were insanely talented musicians. And I'm sure Taylor has her plaudits, as has Ed Sheeran. A Ginger, the #1 male pop star in the world, ever. They're not exactly the Beatles, are they? Or the Rolling Stones, or Led Zeppelin, or a thin, pale foursome, as they used to be described in the industry. Now the music industry is all PR and marketing. I mean, I'll ask you a question. Where has all the talent gone? The characters, the talent. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's not necessarily a 1, 2, or 3, but what is the one song that whenever you hear it, you always turn it up to 11? What's the one song you always turn up to 11? Would it be the pop sensibilities of the Kinks, or the Beatles, or the Devil May Care swagger of the Rolling Stones? I mean, I would say, hang on, what's Louise said? Penny Lane, Albert Medcalf, New Kids in Town. Oh, song. Lady in Red, Geordie Nicholas. Jesus, have you been on a bloody dog tonight? That's a bottle of the dog before. All Right Now by... Oh, what a song, I see you. Ace of Spades, Motorhead, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. And then there's Phil Levan saying Freebird. Louise Hampson loves anything from the 80s. Hotel California, Peter Reese Jones. Creep, Radiohead. Is that because you can sing along to it, Dreamer? Hadaway, What Is Love? Or Hadaway and Shite Man, What Is Love? Sorry, Karina, I just always wanted to say that on the radio, but you know it would have been my last show. Comfortably Numb, Floyd. Oh. Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, just before the drums come in. I'm with you, Matthew. Des Ashton, Vida Cormier, Peter. Sorry, I can't go back up for that one. Cuban Pete, you're wrong. I'd rather you said 1 than Aga bloody 2. AC/DC, Who Made You? Oh, Thin Lizzy, The Boys Are Back in Town. Sorry, me and the boys are wondering how you and the girls are getting home from here tonight. What an intro to a song by Phil Lynott. Harvest Moon, says the Bovril. Angelic Inspirations, Hallelujah Chorus. Love, 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 love. Mike says Stairway to Heaven. With you, definitely. What's English Bottle Cap said? Comic Mania, Whispering Grass. Anything by Karen Carpenter. Oh, what a voice, Lionel. What a voice. Now, mine would be the album version of Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell. It's that piano intro. Whack that fecker up to 11. There's some of the songs that I use in the gym. 3 Lions, New Order. With 3 lions on my chest, you see, I can't go wrong. They're going to hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them. Get round the back. Ask fucking Keir Starmer. He's always round there. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Who else? Adamant. Prince Charming. Which is a rip-off of Rolf Harris War Canoe. Blimey. Do you want to tell him? I think what Stuart is, he's still alive, obviously. A bit quo, 4,500 times. Yeah, Roy Gordon. I was listening to Down, Down, Deeper and Down by Quo the other day. That rocks. 1 Ton of Melons by the Sandpipers. Oh, I say, Reg D. What-o? Fanfare by the Common Man by, this is David Graham, by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Like I mentioned earlier, no wonder it got to number 2 in 1977. Oh, it's just, because it starts off so innocuously, and then just when it comes in. The Bovril got on to music now. We will be here till midnight now. No, we won't, because I'm going to finish this off, you wrong'un. Zeitgeist. The Bovril, Zeitgeist. American Pie, class, said Super Ted. And LA Woman by the Doors. There's a tune. That proper tune. Whatever you want, Quo. Marley says, Stuart, I do one meal a day quite often too. Also, I'm incorporating more extended fasts. Whoa, Amalia. Oh, Karina, you're the one from me. James D. Train Williams. What a tune that is. And do you know that's, can you remember Paul Hardcastle? 19, Paul Hardcastle. That's his favourite song. Well, that's what he told me in an interview I did with Paul Hardcastle. So let me just suggest that all of the songs that have been suggested this evening, the artists are literally just serving you up their soul. They're serving you up what's inside of them. And you recognize that. Your soul recognized musically what they're doing. So like Anita Baker or Teddy Pendergrass or Marvin Gaye, and even take that to kind of take it full circle and Pray. When I heard that song when I was on Rock FM in Preston, I just thought that is #1 written all over it. All over it. Des Ashton, steady on, no footy tonight. So there are songs that artists would literally serve on a platter to you. And you would recognize it. Your soul would recognize it. Taylor Swift serving up her soul. Ed Sheeran. He's not exactly the Sex Pistols, is he? But it's horses for courses. It's the generation. And this generation, God blimey, they're all anxious and depressed. I mean, so in my youth, there was glam rock, punk, disco, modern new romantics. We got into the stadium bits, and then we got into Manchester at the back of the 80s into the 90s. Every 2 years there was a new tribe. AL 1967 says, been listening to a lot of Pink Floyd lately. They are beautiful. I mean, the whole album, you've got to listen to them as an experience, the whole album. But let's morph into, because the youth, in my view, they don't know who they are. So let's morph into someone that made a conscious decision. They wanted to serve the community, serve their family and community, and or policing used to be a vocation. Fire brigade, policing, NHS, vocational. But now we've got a police officer that is suing over, he has an irrational fear of police stations. Now, in a State of the Nation address, this one matters. A police officer, not a civvy, not a civilian, suing for trauma so severe they can't enter police stations. I'm just going to let that one land with you. A police officer, not a civvy, suing for trauma so severe they can't enter a police station. How the bloody hell does that work then? That's where they work. Now, I would suggest to you, this is not about compensation culture. I would liken it to institutional fracture. So when the people enforcing order are psychologically broken by the environment they work in, the system isn't robust, it's brittle. Authority doesn't collapse with riots, it collapses with quiet dysfunction. So Katie Price and McDonald's and take that, a traumatized police officer. Different worlds, same truth. We are literally living in a culture where identity is unstable, institutions are exhausted, and truth arrives too late. And confidence, that just fills the vacuum. So it's not decline, it's transition without instruction. People feel it. That's been my main message at the start of 2026 so far. That people feel something. They can't articulate it. They can't communicate it. They can't find the words to express what it is. But they know that they're feeling it. And that's why these stories land. Whether it's Katie or AI or the Bobby that can't go to work because they're scared of a police station. And the audience are not interested because it's celebrity. People are interested because it feels like home, slightly off kilter. See, that's the state of the nation. So should we get to the backdoor boy? So Starmer, he's in Beijing. Oh, more gruel, sir, more gruel. Do you know Starmer is the man who falsely accused Iraqi war heroes of war crimes? And he did it for free. This is Sir Keir Starmer. He worked on a case for free, which falsely accused Iraqi war heroes of war crimes. And I saw that and I thought, all right, there's two things going on here. One, he's in Beijing, but so was Mark Carney 2 weeks ago before WEF. He went into Beijing and then went into Davos. Starmer didn't make it to Davos. He's a non-person. He's toxic. So why is Carney in Beijing talking with the communists, and then Starmer is in Beijing talking with the communists? What they're doing, taking their orders. I don't mean as in, you know, I'll have shredded chili beef with fried rice, please. I'm talking about some Canadians don't like Carney. Trump's going to fight Canada and Carney. Carney thinks he's Johnny Big Bollocks. Trump has got bigger beach balls than him. And then Starmer, he's always that little weedy, he just kind of gets in there. Now, I get that he's the Prime Minister. Technically, that's his office. But let me tell you this straight. Decoded. Starmer's toxic. That's why all the Labour Party are jostling for position. That's why Andy Burnham said, yeah, I'll happily stand, and then wasn't allowed to, because the high Hedians, to use a Scottish phrase, in the Labour Party are actually everybody in the Labour Party knows he's done, he's finished. And you know this, the National Executive Committee. Do you know who's on the National Executive Committee? Bloody Keir Starmer. It's like turkeys voting for Christmas. And Geordie Nicholas says, never forget, he also made the decision not to prosecute Jimmy Slava. Slava. That's because you've written it, you're wrong. He didn't want to prosecute NFA, file 13, in the bin. No more Jimmy Savile. Very good, Geordie Nicholas. Jimmy Slava. Hang on a second. Let me just... English Bottle Cap says, the UK government has approved plans for a new Chinese embassy in London, which will be the largest of its kind in Europe, located at Royal Mint Court near the Tower of London. The politicians are complaining and bellyaching that the Chinese have been spying espionage on Number 10 and Number 10's phone calls for years. And there's, now it was Queer as Folk, gone across to two-tier Chinese Communist Party. I've told you repeatedly for 3 years, World War III will be with China. But China can't afford to kind of go fighting on land. So what's happening? Watch what Trump's doing. Everything that Trump is doing is against the communists, the Chinese Communist Party. Not because they're communists, not because they're Marxists or socialists, not because they're Chinese, but because it's mission creep. They want to take over the world. And Starmer didn't go to Davos because I believe Trump has said, not on my watch, that can stay in London. I'm here to do deals, not posture with some midget. So let me just tell you this. Starmer is done. He's toxic. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants to touch him. The only reason he's still in power is because, well, somebody did Ginger Growler's knee. She was the heir apparent and then wasn't over the taxes. And he's on the national executive that blocks Andy Burnham from becoming the parliamentary candidate. That, you know, once he was in Ozempic Palace, Starmer was done and gone. Now, I'm going to offer this to you. What you need to do now is just grab your popcorn, because the world's a wild place now, and ask yourself one thing and watch for the same thing. What exactly are they going to use as the lever to get him out of power? I mean, Blair and Brown, they had an agreement. Gordon Brown would step aside, allow Tony Blair to be Prime Minister, and then Tony Blair wouldn't do what he said he could do to Gordon Brown, and Gordon Brown knew what Tony Blair was saying to him, so backed off. Wonder what that was. I do know there are certain D notices, but there are certain machinery, state machinery, that won't allow you ever to know. Wonder what that is, Adrian. Can't tell you. They'll cut me fucking brake pipes. Look, if they can get rid of Diana, they can murder her, they can murder anybody else, including weapons of mass destruction inspectorates. But just grab your popcorn and watch. Doesn't matter what Starmer says now. He's done. He's finished. He's over with. The Miliband's are circling. Andy Burnham wants to step in and save the Labour Party, because the National Executive now, what they've done is they've just signed the suicide note for the Labour Party. And I'll tell you this for fact, Starmer will never, if he has an opportunity, he'll never leave office unless he's told. But as I've said to you many times before, what do the people in higher powers, now I'm talking compromat, because that's how politics works. They get certain information on you and they put you in power, because then they know they can manipulate you. Maybe a Manchurian candidate, but that's certainly Chinese Communist Party if they've got somebody kowtowing and wanting to have one of the biggest embassies in Europe, in London, and then spy on the whole bloody country. I mean, can you not remember the spying balloons in America that shot the peckers down? They were Chinese. And the Americans weren't happy. So what I would say there's levels. On the top level, Donald Trump is fighting World War III with the Chinese as I speak. Underneath that, the Chinese are running Davos, the socialist movement, the Fabian movement, the left-wing movement across the whole of Europe. And then Mark Carney and Keir Starmer are in their back pocket. What for and how? But this is the point that I'm trying to make to you. Watch the show and how they get rid of Starmer. Because it's like a relationship. If me and you were in a relationship, there'd only be two reasons why the relationship would end. Sex or money. They can get away with everything else. So 2026, bye-bye, as Harry Corbett would say. Bye-bye, with his fist up a puppet's arse. Bye-bye. Sooty. Bye-bye, Starmer. He's gone this year. Because at the point where it affects the power of other people, and he just, wants to burn the Labour Party down just to rule over the ashes, that's the man right there. What's he doing in China? Oh, we've got a load of people coming across to do deals with the Chinese. Oh, right, so you're happy to kill off the shipping industry. That was Thatcher. Kill off the shipping industry on this shipping isle. It's an island. There's water everywhere around it. So you can't get off this island unless you've either got a plane or a boat. And she sold off. And I can say this coming from Sunderland, we were the best shipbuilders in the world. Glasgow, Newcastle, Tyne, Sunderland, the Weir, a bit of the Smoggies down on the Tees. And then you've got Northern Ireland. We were the best shipbuilders in the world. And that fucking mad cow sold it all off to China. So what is he selling off? Oh, it's inward investment of £60 billion. Right? So explain to me the inward investment, would you please? Because that's people putting money into this country, like BlackRock, Larry Fink. He was at number 10 with Rachel Reeves and Starmer. And so what's he getting for his money? Is it all the housing stock so we won't be able to buy any? Bye-bye, Starmer. Bye-bye. It's done. It's finished. It's over. And he's had to pull political shenanigans to keep Andy Burnham out. And let me tell you something else. There are people within the Labour Party, because I have been speaking with them, there are people within the Labour Party that want him gone, because they know if he's still hanging around like a bloody bad smell, they're never going to get into power again in 2029. And I will guarantee you this. Thank you, Comic Mania. Hibiscus is always a lovely cup of tea, Comic Mania. I will tell you this. The Labour Party know that it is imperative that they get rid of him. And what will happen, and this is my prediction for 2026, he's gone. They'll put Yvette Cooper in as a very safe pair of hands, and she did a fantastic interview for Radio 4 from Davos. Cool as a cucumber, really good. Safe pair of hands, the people making the decisions above the national executive. It may be just process, but they've watched her and thought, right, yeah, we'll get her in. So Starmer's going to go, gone. You'll be sitting there with your popcorn. You'll nearly choke on it. The popcorn, you're wrong. And it will end up with Yvette Cooper going in as a interim prime minister. Now, one of two things is happening. One, the Labour Party want a female prime minister. They want to be able to say that someone, Yvette Cooper, Shabana Mahmood, it won't be Rachel Reeves. In my view, she's fucking inept. She's destroying the country. So it won't be her, but they'll have a female Labour Prime Minister, because it's the only way that they can. And then at the Labour Party conference in September, they will vote for a new Labour Prime Minister. Will it be Andy Burnham? Just wait and see. Because all the shit is going to start to fly. But what have they got on Starmer that they're going to get rid of him with? Get your popcorn. It's going to be a wild ride 2026. It's going to be fabulous entertainment. Because it's a bit like when Thatcher went and everybody was parading coffins around the streets. The Wicked Witch is dead. The Wicked Witch is dead from, Friends of Dorothy. The Wicked Witch is dead. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, Elton. He did. He got married to a woman, seemingly. I'm trying to think. There's so much stuff that I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Are you aware of it? This news is kind of coming out gently, quietly, because they don't want you to react. They don't want moral indignation from you and everybody else. I've told you before, Southport was the turn of this country. It was, we barely had a Labour government come back into power, and then Southport happened, and then people were being jailed for stuff they were posting online. And remember, the infrastructure for AI and the infrastructure for digital ID, it's already been built. It's just a matter of time before they go, it's an inconvenient truth, you need to have digital ID. That's how they're doing it now. And that's why two-tier, free gear, queer as folk Starmer, he's off to China, because the Chinese already have that system in place. But what they also have in China is they have AI monitoring their classes, their classrooms. And not in a kind of just looking who's in the classroom or the subject that they're doing. AI now is monitoring the eyes of the children in class. And if they're a little bit sleepy, then AI alerts the teacher. That student's falling asleep. I mean, I know you're deathly dull as a teacher, but that student's falling asleep. And now, this for me hits a real emotional sore point, the core. And it's different from the usual political noise. Nearly 40% of children in England and Wales are starting school without basic life skills. Toileting, feeding, self-care. It's sort of crushing classroom time and, more importantly, teacher morale. The kids, I mean, you know how they're saying, oh, well, the Australians have done it, so we're going to have a look at it. We're going to do the research on banning social media for the under-16s. I'm going to ask you a question before I continue with this. Do you believe that social media should be banned for under 16s? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Lewis, what's your take on David Icke's theory about AI drawing so much power? Can you give me it in 2 lines, Lewis? Interesting. Do you know, Comic Mania, I know you said it in all jest, but you're probably about right. Should social media be banned for the under 16s? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Comic Mania says their mums and dads are too busy doing drugs. I mean, does it compute with you? Emotionally, it enrages me, but nearly 40% of kids in England, they start school without basic life skills: toileting, feeding, self-care. So the votes are Finger Me Waz's names, and Comic Mania, 147 Adam, the O Bovril, Nathan Diamond, Louise Hampson, Les Griffiths, and Matthew Whedon, and Amalia, good point. Finger was his names. During school hours. Interesting. But then that gives responsibility to the parents. Can we give parents responsibility? Marley says, I don't know. Someone said that parents should parent. I agree with that too. So it's Comic Mania and Legal Lister and the All Bovril are all saying yes. Des is saying no. Geordie Nicholas is saying no. Des says, Larry Fink said the electric supplies to Mahoo Drive data centers cannot be intermittent. They can't, because they lose the data. And the reason they want the data is because they're going to monitor everyone. So it's interesting. Napoleon Bonaparte makes a very good point. Monitored, not banned. So where do we monitor it? Do we have, like, you can go to some restaurants now and they have jamming technology. So you can go in with your mobile phones, but they won't work whilst you're in that restaurant for the time you're in that restaurant. So maybe we just put jamming technology in the schools. And I know the kids are clever, but they won't be able to get around that. Do we just put it in schools? And while they're in school, they don't have access to social media or any kind of online things. And I've been having conversations over the last couple of days around how children are growing up. Now, if you have children or grandchildren that are getting towards 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe, they're quite precocious. They're 10-year-old going on 40. They think they know the world, but they only know the world by their contemporary resonance, by whatever's happening to their pals and mates in school. They don't know the world. The minute the world starts to get a bit tough, then their backsides fall out. I don't agree with the total ban, says Roy. Oh, hang on a second. Where's Roy? I don't agree with the total ban, as kids need to learn and use the technology. Theo Bovril says government taking parental responsibility away from parents. That is the point. 40% of kids are going to school. They can't toilet, feed themselves, or have any self-care because they've never been taught that by their parents. So they're going to school at 4? Or maybe nursery even before. So it's not a fluffy educational piece. This is societal readiness versus cultural priorities. So the stories that are coming out into the media, again, it's changing, it's evolving. Lewis says, don't give control to government, especially Labour. Derek Tomlinson says, I only watch YouTube and don't do any other social media. Paulie, again, makes a great point. Banning it for under 16s will have effects for us, adults, too. So the the headlines as they're coming to you, and if you feel so inclined, then hitting the likes before we wind up in 10-15 minutes or so would help the channel greatly. Thank you. So smash the likes. I would say that today, January 28th, 2026, it's all about pivots and paradoxes and pressure points. So one headline tells a story today. It's trust versus truth, power versus people. There's the Trump narrative. He's trying to take the Chinese on. Now, admittedly, it's geopolitical. So he doesn't want the Chinese to have any kind of remote access to the Americas, whether it's via the Panama Canal or whether it's via the seas around Greenland. He's trying to make America as safe as it can. And then you've got WEF and Davos doing the Chinese bidding, the socialist, Marxist, Fabian bidding. And then Starmer's trying to look like a diplomat. And we have AI economics. So with the Zeitgeist Barometer, what I'm attempting to do is frame social issues as barometers of cultural health. So sport and culture, the Romans. If in doubt, give them bread and circuses and it will distract them. So we've got sport and culture, Taylor Swift marrying an American football player. These are pulse points in a distraction economy. Because that's what whether you use AI or whether you use social media, the economy is distraction. It's your eyeballs, your attention, your distraction. So where we are in January 2026, or the end of, I mean, Christmas feels like it was only yesterday. Where do you believe we are? As opposed to the elite strategy of the Chinese Communist Party or the Labour government or WEF and Davos and Europe. I mean, some people are predicting that Europe is finished. The European project is finished. Germany's economy is tanking. France, Jesus, what a state that's in. So I'll ask you a question. We've looked at what's happening with the kids and with media and with all the stuff within the mainstream distraction economy. And by institutions, I'm meaning the emergency services, the uncivil servants, the politicians. So are our institutions adapting or merely distracting us whilst they plunder our taxes? Look at Minnesota. Tampon Tim. Not long he's going to jail. The corruption. Even if he's not corrupt himself, he must have known about the corruption because that's where the book stops. So I'll ask you the question again. 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for not unsure, Bonnie lad. Are our institutions adapting to the modern world, which is wild in 2026, or are they just distracting us so we don't see what they're up to? Are they distracting us? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for don't know. Yeah, keep them poor. Are they distracting us? Dreamer says no. Let me get to it. Dreamer and Nikki Watson, Lewis saying no, but the Bovril and Mad Matt UK and Des Ashton are saying yes. Sandra, evening Sandra, welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Oh, we can talk footy now. No. Stuart and Robert Norman and Napoleon Bonaparte, Tom Harney's and English Bottle Cap 1 and 2. They're all saying yes. The Bovril, I see you. Legalista and Lauren Taylor. Martine and Lionel distracting us all the time. But that's why this is here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing on all of these lives, because I don't want you distracted. I've said to you before, this is a gathering. This is the pulpit of truth. And I know sometimes I'll make a joke about stuff, but this is deadly serious. Because what we're fighting here is tyranny. So they're going to postpone the local elections in May. 4 million people can't have a vote. And nobody's kicking off about it. That's tyranny. Do as you're fucking told. And it's the insidious mission creep of the Chinese Communist Party. So if I disappear, my brake pipes are being cut, you know why. And I'm not joking either. I was going to talk about global warming. I know, Sandra, I am keeping an eye on you. Oh, come on, playoffs next, man. So I very quickly, I need to put some stuff on your radar, because the mainstream media is not doing it. The news programs on the telly are not doing it. The news programs on radio are not doing it. You're not allowed to debate this, but America has told Ukraine today that it must sign the peace deal with Russia to get security guarantees. What Trump and his administration are evidently telling Sniffy is, look, if you want us to look after you, it's a bit like mafia. They'll pop round to your shop and go, we're just coming in to make sure everything's all right. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Rev. Late birthday present for you. You're ever so kind. Thank you, Stuart. He's kind of, it's like The Sopranos. I've told you before, there's a place called Borovets where you can go skiing in Bulgaria. It's run by organised crime, in my view. And I was sitting in a it's called the Big Bastard Steakhouse, if it's still there. And this guy walked in, and now I'm sitting there with somebody who kind of clocks the room, knows the room, understands all of this, as I do, because of my upbringing. Like I say, my father was... Anyway, so this guy walks in with this leather jacket, and I'm thinking, this is Bulgaria. It's like, I don't know, 15 years ago. No, yeah, about 15 years ago. He walks in, and I said to my mate across the table, what do you think he's in here for? Is he coming for the money? And he said, yeah, probably. So he sits down at the bar, has a chat with somebody behind the bar, and all of a sudden there's a brown envelope just passed across the bar. And I said, that's protection money. You don't think the bad lads run this town, do you? He said, well, there's 2 titty bars there. Who do you think run them? Lap dancing bars in a ski resort. And I've told you before, there was a hotel manager. The bad people thought that he was making too much money, so they took him up the top of the mountain and shot him. So there's El Trumpo. He's walked into town, the gunslinger. Sniffy was in Davos last week, so he's had a meeting with Sniffy, and he's gone, oi, bonny lad, because he talks like that when he's not orange. So you sign there, and what that means is you'll get security from us, the Americans. But you've got to sign away the Donbass. Oh, how we're man, Donald. I can't do that. The bloody Ukrainians, me people, they'll want me bloody slaughtered. Well, sign the peace deal with Russia and you'll get us to look after you. We'll give you security guarantees. It's like the bloody Sopranos, man. So the Financial Times has reported, and I bet you haven't seen this, that the Trump administration has signaled to Ukraine that American security guarantees depend on Kiev. I'm not into this Kiev malarkey. What's that? All of a sudden there's a war on, so they rename the capital to Kiev. How do we? It's Kiev. I've had their chickens. It will depend on Sniffy agreeing to a peace deal, which likely requires Ukraine to give away the Donbass to Russia, where all the oil and the gas is in the Black Sea. Because please, just be aware, take all the theatre and the drama out of all of this. It's all about the gas and the oil, everything. I know that wars are bankers' wars, and bankers, their only job is to make money out and out. And that's what they're going to do this year, because they're going to crash. They're going to tank the market. They're going to tank the dollar. They're going to tank everything, because then they'll get into crypto. And let me just, in a really simple term, give you how crypto is going to work. So let's take the crypto that you know best is either Bitcoin or XRP. And they're saying, well, if XRP and or Bitcoin was worth £1, and I'm doing this just to give you insight and understanding around this. So I'm making it really simple. So Bitcoin and or XRP is worth $1. So if they want to transfer a shit ton of money, and that's what banks do all the time. So say the bank wanted to transfer $10 million between two countries, because that's what XRP will facilitate, and or the reserve value in Bitcoin. If it was worth $1, they'd have to use 10 million XRP or 10 million Bitcoin. But if XRP or Bitcoin is worth $10 million, they only need one to transfer the wealth and to facilitate the transfer on it within the new system that's coming this year. So can you see why the banks and the financial markets and BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're buying into? The biggest holder of Bitcoin in the world is BlackRock. And they want it low because then when they need it on the blockchain to be inflated, they're going to make so much money. Banks making money out of nothing. And institutions making money out of nothing. So if XRP is worth $1 and Bitcoin is worth, I don't know, $100,000, then they're going to artificially inflate it, get it going to the moon. Some people that are in the game will make millions. But the others will be resigned to abject poverty. And there's Trump also going on about, Starmer, man, you need to get into the North Sea. Do you realise how much gas and oil's in the North Sea? You've got hundreds of years worth of energy. Why are you not drilling for oil and gas? Net zero, Donald. Because, the prat with the ukulele, giving it a strum in public. Albert Metcalf saying, CNN coming out. That'll be a first for the Americans. Coming out in support of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Are they really? Be the bloody Labour Party tomorrow in the Daily Mirror. Comic Mania. Still no audit. Fort Knox. So what you are witnessing, all of it, is just theatre, darling. It's theatre. They don't want you to understand what's going on. They don't want you involved in what's going on. They don't want you to vote a particular way because they control the system. They've built this infrastructure over the last 50 years. So whether you vote for them or not, the government always gets in. There was a shit ton of stuff that TikTok, CIA, who now are running Venezuela. And when I say these things, some of the things that I say on here are dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So when I was telling you about the last 5 or 6 central banks, I told you 3 years ago about Venezuela. Now, this is not me, Johnny Big Bollocks. What I'm saying to you is this. We have a gathering on a Sunday and a Wednesday. And it may need a few viewings or experiences of the gathering, the lives that I do, for people to get understanding. But we need to spread the word. So please tell your friends, your family, or anybody else that's not watching it. Because all they have to do is just pick up the little bits and they get the whole picture. So Venezuela and Iraq and Syria, the central banks now all belong to the Rothschilds. Who do you think's next? Iran! Don't you get it? So if Khomeini has disappeared, the Rothschilds have got the central bank in Iran. And then who's left after that? There's only 3. North Korea. Hobos. What do you mean? Have you not seen the video? It's AI. And then China and Russia. They're the only 3 left. Well, Hungary. But that's European. And the Hungarians have told the Europeans to go and fox for Oscar. So I try to bring it back to in simplistic terms to give you the context and thereby understanding. So at the beginning of this tonight, the live, we were talking about Katie Price. Jesus H. She's making money out of these headlines. She don't care. It's a weird way of living. And then we talk about the police officer that can't be a police officer. They're suing because of the trauma of having to work in a police station. And AI. They're now going to do short courses for everybody. Everybody? Everybody. And I would love to start doing more AI insights here, because literally your kids and your grandkids have got this nailed. They might laugh at us, but we're not daft. Look, we've lived through so much in the last 50 years. If you look at Tricky Dicky being nailed for the all the president's men. So he gets nailed for being just a proper bad un, wrong un. But as I say, every relationship with the public. Look at all the Tory boys that have come out and gone, oh, I'm going to spend more time with my wife. What, not the Red boys? Well, what about spanking Rent boys with table tennis bats? Well, I was drunk, I fell on it. And they're at their country pile with the missus and 2 kids at the gate going, oh, I've made a mistake, but I'm going to spend more time with my family and kids. I bet you did. The only mistake you made was getting found out. So, Ray Norton says, I don't mind doing a few intercourses. You would do, Ray. Knowing your luck, you'll get bloody arrested for it. And Geordie Nicholas says, me and Liz were at the Strictly Dancing Live last night. The women next to me thought Boris was still PM. Yeah. Watergate. Thank you, English bottle cap. I agree with you. And then there's, look, the Americans will assassinate their president just to go into a war in Vietnam that makes the military-industrial complex a shit ton of money. And there's the US forces. Look, the CIA are looking after Venezuela. So the CIA has helped supplant Maduro and poised to help actively manage the Trump administration's dealings with Venezuela's new leadership. US forces conduct readiness exercise in the Middle East amid tensions with Iran. Can you imagine the Americans? Hello, Ayatollah, we're going to nick all your goats. Oh. And now, and they're not going to report on this, the High Court is hearing a challenge to police use of live facial recognition. I've told you this before. Big Brother Watch is backing a legal challenge brought by the group's director, Silky Carlo, and an anti-knife crime campaigner, Sean Thompson, who was wrongly flagged as a criminal by the Met Police of live facial recognition cameras. That's going to become more and more prevalent. So there is so much going on in this world that we have no clue about. What else was I wanted to talk to you about? No, I'll have to leave it. I'll have to make some more videos over the next couple of days. But there is so much. And the reason why they're doing this, the reason why they are flooding the zone is so that you can't keep up with it. I mean, sometimes my eyeballs wobble. I'll say that again. Sometimes my eyeballs wobble at the speed of news. And you can't, you kind of read it and then you digest it. And by the time you've read it for 3 minutes, the story's bloody changed 5 times. But that's why they're doing it. So you just go, a bit like voting in a general election. Oh, I can't be asked. The bloody, the government, they just keep getting in. There's nothing I can do. Voting's not going to change anything. So you don't vote. And they are hoping that only 30% of the electorate votes so they can divvy up the votes between them. Have we talked Smartmatic and Dominion yet, Adrian? We will do. Can't tell you what I know, but we will do. And it's all going to come out. There will be politicians in this country shitting themselves. Because it's all going to come out. Out. So, thank you to everyone that's been in the body of the Kirk this evening. Another gathering, 286, live 286. We're not far away from our 300th live. If you could smash the likes to go, oh, lovely, we're over 100. Thank you to everyone who's been here this evening. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most importantly, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. These gatherings happening Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. If you can spread the word, more people will know, because they'll trust you to give them honesty and integrity. And once they understand your honesty and integrity, they'll flood here, which is all I ask of you. So look after yourself. Whatever you do, wherever you go, make sure you've got emergency Battenberg and a little tincture of altar wine to keep you going, just in case you were left stranded in the middle of some desert in the Sahara or something. And I will be back with another live this coming Sunday. I'll update you next week as to what's happening with me peepers. Not quite sure whether it's going to be or when the operation is going to be and how that will affect my output here. But look after yourself. Stay well. Watch out for the snow. It's coming, seemingly. A bit like Starmer in China. And if it does, get your skis out. Go and scare the neighbours. And I'll see you Sunday, 7:15 for more malarkey. My name's Adrian Allen. Live 286. This is not a show. This is a mission. The mission towards truth and clarity. And the journey continues. Sunday, 7:15. Au revoir.